Absolutely confirmed. Morgan Gibbs-White to Spurs. Here we go. Nottingham Forest furious as Tottenham activate £60 million release clause for Gibbs-White. Welcome back to Tottenham News Today channel. According to Sky Sports, Nottingham Forest believe Tottenham Hotspur may have breached confidentiality provisions surrounding Morgan Gibbs-White's £60 million release clause, and the Midlands club are now considering filing an official complaint, a reaction that follows a dramatic week at the City ground. Spurs have triggered the £60 million clause and have reached a full agreement with the players' representatives. Gibbs-White, a long-standing target admired inside Hotspur Way, has already given the green light to the move and is expected to undergo medical tests later today. Sources close to the deal suggest that an official announcement could be made as early as this evening or by Monday at the latest. The news has sent shockwaves through Nottingham Forest's fan base, who took to social media in outrage after losing two of their star players in less than a week, with Anthony Elanga joining Newcastle United just days ago, and now Gibbs-White on his way to North London. Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis is reportedly furious, believing the North Londoners made an illegal approach for Gibbs-White. However, within Tottenham's hierarchy, there is complete confidence that the club acted fully within the rules. The structure of the £60 million release clause allowed for direct contact once activated, and sources close to Daniel Levy described the Forest reaction as nothing more than bitter frustration after losing a top-class talent for a relatively modest fee in today's inflated market. For Tottenham, the signing represents a significant coup, especially with the club aiming to bolster its squad ahead of a return to the Champions League under new head coach Thomas Frank, who personally approved the pursuit of Gibbs-White. The 24-year-old is seen as a perfect fit for Frank's fluid attacking system, offering creativity, dynamism and a tireless work rate, all traits that align with the manager's tactical blueprint. Levy, well known for navigating hostile transfer scenarios, is said to be in his natural element amid Forest's legal threats. The feeling inside the club is unequivocal. The deal is done. There's no turning back. Forest, who now face the difficult task of replacing two key players in the final third, are recovering, but Tottenham are moving decisively forward. Gibbs-White is set to become Tottenham's second summer signing, and with medicals imminent, the move will mark the start of what is expected to be a transformative window in the 17 that has already signed Mohamed Kudus from West Ham for £55 million, and with the club preparing to spend big in pursuit of titles and European success. Tottenham Hotspur's ambitious summer rebuild in midfield may not be complete just yet. Despite having already secured the impressive signings of Mohamed Kudus from West Ham United and Morgan Gibbs-White from Nottingham Forest, Spurs are actively exploring additional reinforcements, and according to Dean Jones, Joao Palhina has now surfaced as a genuine and high-priority target. Following a series of internal meetings at Hotspur Way, newly appointed head coach Thomas Frank is understood to have made it clear to Fabio Paratici and Johan Lang that the team still lacks a commanding presence at the base of midfield. With Yves Bissouma expected to leave in the coming weeks, Tottenham are eager to add a natural number 6 who can offer stability, leadership and defensive cover. Palhina, currently at Bayern Munich, fits that profile to perfection. The Portuguese international, who made a name for himself during an outstanding spell at Fulham before sealing a high-profile move to the Bundesliga, has struggled to nail down a guaranteed starting role at Bayern, largely due to the club's congested midfield options. However, his reputation in the Premier League remains strong. His combination of ball-winning ability, tactical discipline and physical presence made him one of the most admired midfielders in England prior to his departure. Importantly, Spurs view Palhina not as a replacement for Kudus or Gibbs-White, but as a vital complementary asset, someone who would bring defensive steel and composure to a midfield already rich in flair and creativity. While Kudus and Gibbs-White are expected to operate further forward, Palhina would be tasked with shielding the back line, recycling possession and offering a strong aerial presence, a key requirement as Spurs prepare to re-enter the Champions League. Reports suggest that Thomas Frank, who coached Palhina's former midfield partner Christian Norgard at Brentford, is a long-time admirer of the Portuguese enforcer. Frank believes Palhina could be the linchpin of his Tottenham midfield, allowing players like James Maddison, Gibbs-White and Kudus the freedom to operate in more advanced roles without compromising the team's defensive balance. Financially, the move could be complex, as Bayern are unlikely to sell on the cheap after signing Palhina in a deal worth over £50 million. However, Daniel Levy has reportedly granted Paratici and Lange access to a £300 million transfer budget, thanks in part to Spurs' Europa League triumph and subsequent qualification for next season's Champions League. Within the club, there is growing belief that a midfield trio anchored by Palhina with Gibbs-White and Maddison ahead of him could finally give Spurs the backbone they have long lacked. One capable of competing at the very top both domestically and in Europe. As talks progress behind the scenes, Spurs fans will be keeping a close eye on developments. One thing is certain, Tottenham are not done yet, and the addition of Joao Palhinha would signal another serious statement of intent in what is fast becoming one of the club's most decisive transfer windows in recent memory. Spurs boss Thomas Frank could look to raid former side Brentford in the coming weeks, according to reports, with talks now underway to sign Congo forward Yon Whister in what would be a huge move in the capital city. Tottenham hold talks to sign Yon Whister. The Brentford star was one of the leading scorers in the top flight last season. The report by Caught Offside states that Tottenham have held initial talks over a potential move for the Brentford speedster, knowing that £50 million would be enough to get a deal done for his signature. Frank brought him to the G-Tech Community Stadium upon Brentford's promotion to the Premier League in 2021, and he's since scored 45 league goals in 137 games for the Bees in the top flight, securing 2 top-half finishes in the process. Now he wants him to follow in his footsteps from West to North London, after a 19-goal haul last season, and although they didn't sign Bryan Mbeumo, with the Cameroonian preferring a switch to Manchester United, a deal for the Congolese international could be on the cards. Frank needs support for Dominic Solanke up front, with Visser also able to play off the left, where he could rival Son Heung-min, Richarlison, Wilson Odobert and Mikey Moore for minutes. But his prowess in the league has made him a top target. Caught Offside sources state that talks have started, with Tottenham prioritising a move for the attacker. They may face competition for his signing, with no move being advanced yet, but with 19 goals in the top flight, it's easy to see why he is being put at the front of their shortlist. Brentford may lose Wissa, Mbeumo and Frank all in one window, which would see them struggle next season, though the imminent Jordan Henderson signing will fill a leadership void alongside the money needed to replace their departing stars. Outstanding midfielder would now love to sign for Tottenham. Fabio Paratici is aware of the situation. TBR Football understands that Douglas Luiz would love to sign for Tottenham Hotspur, and Fabio Paratici is aware of his desire to return to the Premier League. As TBR Football exclusively revealed last week, Tottenham held talks with Douglas Luiz over a potential transfer, with the Lily-Whites also interested in the midfielder. The midfielder is just one of several options the Lily-Whites are now considering. A holding midfielder and a number 6 are the new priorities after securing deals for both Mohamed Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White. Juventus have permitted him to find a new club, and his entourage are talking to various teams about a transfer away from Turin. Luiz, who's been called outstanding, has plenty of interest from the Premier League, with a return move to the English top flight his preferred destination. Douglas Luiz and Joao Palhinha are among the midfield options Tottenham Hotspur are currently assessing, sources have told Graham Bailey, chief correspondent at TBR Football. Palhinha was offered to several Premier League clubs, as TBR Football revealed last month, and Spurs are considering him as an option. Meanwhile, Fabio Paratici is fully aware of Luiz's situation at Juve and that the player is really keen to sign for a Premier League club. The player's people are now pushing for a move to the white half of North London, knowing that the player is very keen on Spurs. Tottenham keeping tabs on Adam Wharton's situation. TBR Football can also reveal that Tottenham are keeping tabs on Adam Wharton's situation at Crystal Palace. Should the 21-year-old become available, Spurs could well look to make a move for the youngster who has been excellent in South London. Any deal for Wharton would be very tricky, as he is so highly rated at Selhurst Park and has a contract there until the summer of 2029. That wraps up today's update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with all things Tottenham, Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for our latest content. Be sure to give this video a like and share it with fellow Spurs supporters. Let's grow the Tottenham News Today community together. Thanks for tuning in. And as ever, come on you Spurs.